were these extraordinary conditions a one-off?
All the indications are that if you look back, this is a once-in-a-lifetime event, but if you look forward, they're going to become more frequent, these extreme storms. So I think it's something we have got to prepare for in the southwest, and we've got to learn to live with.
Whatever the future holds weather-wise, at South Milton Sands in South Devon, there's now little left to lose. When the Valentine's Day storm rolled in on the 14th of February, lovers of this beach could only watch as great chunks of it disappeared.
It was just quite unbelievable. We just really almost couldn't take it in, the force of the sea, and also how high it felt. It physically felt like a big sort of boiling mass that was really high up. It was really sad as well because so much, this beach is just such a fantastic sight, and it was sad to see so much destruction.
The waves swept away 2/3 of the sand dunes which once stood here. They'd been restored by the National Trust landowners and local people just 10 years earlier.
Those wooden posts mark where the front of the dunes was before the storms. That is where the front of the dunes stands today. It's all gone.
As one of the biggest coastal landowners in the country, the National Trust faces tough decisions about where to rebuild and where to let nature have its way. Tony Flux is the Trust's coast and marine advisor and has been working with local people to find a solution.
Hello, Rosie.
Hiya, how are you?
I'm not too bad. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, you too.
But I expect you're quite pleased we're actually trying to put it right for the season.
Really relieved, yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Because it will help our business all the time.
Yeah.
Just have our second route coming in, so.
All our coastal sites are different, and they're all special in some way or other. It's very precious to people. These sort of iconic sites mean a great deal to them. So it's not just in our interests; it's in the public and national interest to look after these sites as best we possibly can. But one has to accept that they are dynamic. It's the coast, and change is not only inevitable, but sometimes, as we've seen this winter, it can occur very, very quickly.
The Trust tries to plan for its properties 100 years ahead. Not an easy task when it comes to an ever-changing coastline.
All our coastal adaptation strategies, all our coastal planning, if you like, is working on the principle that we're going to be dealing with an extra 1 metre of still water over the next 100 years. Forget storms, just an extra metre of still water. Where would high water mark be? Well, it wouldn't be here, it would be there. And on shallow beaches, that's a real issue over the next 100 years.
The damaged coast road here is being rebuilt, but not everywhere will get the same treatment.
There are places where the decision to repair and renew is much more difficult to take. Mullion Harbour, for example, in Cornwall is a case in point where the damage has been very significant. What you don't want to do is have a situation where you're doing work, you're spending money, you're using resource, and you're doing it year after year after year after year for no long-term gain.
The issue of what to protect and what to abandon has long loomed over the Dorset town of Lyme Regis. Landslips like these in the 1960s plague the town. This stretch of coastline is constantly on the move, and for some local people, the threat of losing everything is very real. Derek Hallett is one of those living on a landslide. Ten years ago, half his garden fell into the sea. Today, it's all but gone entirely, leaving his home just metres from the edge.
We had a wonderful garden. We had a lovely lawn, steps going down, apple trees, some beautiful bramleys, and now you can see it's now quite a mess.
Just below his garden, a multi-million-pound sea defence scheme is underway. And it's come just in time. On the 4th of February, the storm hit hard.
I must be honest, if we hadn't had the new defences nearly finished, I don't know if we'd been here. The place was rocking. For 2 nights it actually rocked. My famous saying is I go to bed with my life jacket on when we actually blew them up those nights. Cheers, my friend.
Derek's more than happy to put up with the noise and disruption of the sea defence works.
I think we're extremely lucky. I think we've been spoilt. Lyme Regis have had a lot of money spent on it lately, and I think we're very, very lucky. The government, they've helped us out here.
Derek's house is on East Cliff, but he has a farm on the other side of town at West Cliff. And here it's a different story. These cliff-top fields were once level pasture, but storm-force seas have undermined them and heavy rainfall has loosened the land. They're slumping into the sea and are unusable.
It's completely all gone. The bad weather, the gales and the torrential rain, as you can see, it's just gone. I say, you know, it's about 40 acres in total. God knows how many acres we've actually lost down over. There's a lot down on the beach. It's well gone on underneath this, you know. It's sad.
There are no sea defences here and none planned.
Basically, it all comes down to money, and, you know, with all the flooding up in the Somerset levels and the East Coast, you know, everybody got to have their piece of cake, you know, and there's only one cake and we can't have it all here, can we? So hopefully they're trying to do something down below, but who knows?
But could a case be made for protecting the west side of Lyme Regis too? I'm taking a trip with local geologist Richard Edmond to find out. This is the best way to see what's going on here.
Richard, the scale of this is extraordinary. I mean, the story's there, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. This is East Cliff, so the east side of Lyme Regis. And the thing is, it's built on an ancient landslide, which goes all the way up to the slope at the back there.
Right.
And the concern is that as the sea nibbles away the base of the cliff and we get these very extreme rainfall events, those landslides could be reactivated and take away up to 160 houses, the main road, the churchyard, the football field. So there's a huge amount of property and value at risk, and that's what allows the funding to come in place to do a scheme here.
But in terms of the design of that wall there, it's already been put to the test, hasn't it?
It has, and it hasn't even been finished, and yet it's survived those big seas.
Now we're heading over to West Cliff, where Derek's fields are working their way down onto the beach. There are fewer houses here, so it's harder to justify shoring it all up.
This is the coast performing naturally. There's no justification to spend millions of pounds of public funding on a field or even on a single house, and just economically and sustainably it would be the completely wrong approach.
I mean, as a geologist, do you think this is actually a realistic way to deal with things? Throw money at the problem over there, let nature take its course here?
Absolutely it is, and all I would say is it's going to get harder and harder in the future. I mean, eventually Black Ven on the east side of Lyme Regis is going to want to work its way towards the town, and it's very hard to imagine what kind of sums of money you'd need to even try to stop it.
So poor Derek's field up there is disappearing into the sea at quite a rate.
It is, and it's a real irony. This coast is so beautiful because it's eroding. It's a product of erosion.
Yeah.
If it wasn't eroding, it wouldn't be the place that it is.
Yeah.
And obviously people want to live and enjoy and be in these places, but it comes with an inherent risk.
Climate experts say the evidence suggests, be it by the coast or inland, we'd better brace ourselves.
We're at a crossroads of ocean weather and continental weather and polar weather and tropical weather, and we're a very small island. The rainfall is getting more intense. There is evidence for that in the records. We can see that and we can analyse that. So at the very least we should start to prepare for more extremes of weather.
everyone sees a changing landscape as a bad thing.
People often say, oh, we're losing the coast. No, you can't lose the coast. Well, you're sacrificing the coast. No, you can't sacrifice the coast. What's happening is the coast is just in a slightly different place. And that's not only natural, it's what makes it so beautiful and so dynamic and so interesting.
Others believe our efforts to hold back the tide will prove futile.
So how do you move a town like Lyme Regis back? You can't. It's where it is. And that's a problem that's going to face communities all around the world. But in the long term, nature will win.
Many of those who choose a life by the sea seem determined to stay put. No one can say they haven't been warned.
Everyone knows that life on the coast is dynamic, and yes, it can be dangerous, but that's all part of its seduction. It might prove to be a fatal attraction, but for some, it's worth the risk.